Hi guys, Ray here from City Fan TV, and we're with the man Bernard Deneen. How you doing, Bernard?
I'm fine, Ray. How are you guys? Hope you're all well.
Bernard, when we win a game of football, I'm always happy, and when we beat Liverpool, I'm 10 times as happy. It may not look it, but I'm 10 times as happy, and I suppose you are as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think I've said today in one of the little vlog I put together that it was. We won the battle. Unfortunately, we did lose the war, but we won the battle last night, and that helps, doesn't it? A little final foray at them and a little bite at them before they go on to collect that thing that used to belong to us.
And we'll get on to next season in a few minutes, but that was a. I mean, I look at it as a topsy-turvy game. You know, both teams had a lot of chances. I think some of the defending on both sides was bang average. But we also saw from Liverpool a susceptibility at the back, you know, and how much that is a hangover from their hangover from winning the league, and how much is that shows that they can be got at by a half decent team. And we're not a bad team. But did you see vulnerabilities out there back that you haven't really seen throughout the season?
I think we saw what we knew about City, didn't we? We knew our vulnerabilities anyway. But I mean, when we were watching Liverpool earlier in the season, we thought, well, yeah, they're not, they can be got, but people are showing them too much respect. Yeah. That's the problem, and it has been all season what they used to do to us. And teams have now don't show a lot. Some teams don't show us that respect anymore, and they have a go, and that's when we suffer. And I think if teams can do the same to Liverpool. And ride the luck as well, because let's face it, we rid our luck a little bit last night. We could have been 1 or 2-0 down before we even, we had the penalty. To be honest with you, you need a little bit of luck. That's football, and but hopefully other teams can stop them getting this breaking our 100-point thing. Need some other teams to step up now over the next few games.
Yeah, well, the two ways they'll get to that is if they get 4 wins and 2 draws, that gets them to 100. But if they want to beat 100, they have to have at least 5 wins. 5 wins gets them to 101. 6 wins gets them 104. Which, look, if they break our record, well done to them. You can't argue about them. They have been the best team by far this season. They're not going to get anywhere. They shouldn't get anywhere near our goals record, 106 goals, and they're sat on, I think, 70 at the moment.
Yeah.
75. So, 70. I think it's 75. I don't think they're going to get anywhere near 100. They shouldn't be, really. I mean, in 6 games, I can't see them getting 25 goals. They've got a game against Chelsea in there as well. But we had so many chances. And I'm going to mention one of our favourite players, who, when he was born, the doctor put a whistle in his mouth and blew the whistle. And the midwife, she raised a flag and waved this flag and said, offside. Now, Gabby Jesus, he had 3 cracking opportunities, absolutely cracking opportunities, where sometimes Robertson wasn't there or there was no defence around him. The ball played through was so good. The Liverpool defence were up. And he did not need, I think, on each of those 3 occasions that he was caught offside, with oceans of space, acres of space ahead of him, no one near him, he didn't need to make those early runs. He didn't need to be caught offside. He could have waited because the balls were so good. Now, my worry is, do you think he'll ever learn? This is 3 seasons at City. Do you think he's going to learn? Because...
Yeah, I mean, let me just see, because I was set before the break, honestly. He had it improved. I had noticed a significant improvement. I think he'd gone literally 3 or 4 months where I can't remember him hardly ever being caught offside. He seemed to have learned from Sergio, whoever's been practicing, he seemed to have learned the technique of just holding back that little bit. But I've just sort of had my head in the hands again last night, because for the 2nd or 3rd game now, I thought, what are you doing? I mean, I thought you'd suss this all out. I mean, get caught once, but as soon as you get caught 2, 3, 4 times, I mean, he's gone backwards, and he had actually improved. I think people, if you look at the stats, I bet if you look at the last 3 months of the normal season before the break, I think it improved vastly, absolutely superbly, and I did comment on it, and he just seems to have gone backwards now since the break.
I think he has been offside a few times. I mean, it's just something I noticed, because It's like a bowler at cricket bowling a no ball. You know, you're a professional. You've been at this game a long time, and you should. You know, there was one that's the first one was he was miles offside, and you just think there was no one near you. The second one, he was offside, and the ball wasn't played to him. He was offside, and then he wouldn't get back onside. He kept on staying offside, and it's like he was just understand. He was focused on the pass and waiting for the pass, but he had no idea that for 3 or 4 seconds he was well offside, and he had 2 chances as well in that game. I think he had 2 chances where I think he should have done better. So it's like 3 offside, great opportunities, 2 chances, fluffed them. It was look, been a bit. I don't want to be negative and pessimistic, but if we want a challenge for the title next season, we are going to have to improve all over the pitch. And yes, we might have scored a ton more goals than Liverpool, yeah, but we've got to be taking these chances, because who's to say next season Liverpool won't be giving us 15 chances in a game?
No, I mean, this is it with Gabby. I mean, I've considered now, obviously, looking at last night's game. I think that was one of Gabby's worst games, and he was my lowest mark, and he happened to be Stuart Brennan's lowest mark. I noticed when I was looking at his player ratings, etc. But we need desperately, we need another striker. Simple as. We've needed a striker for 2 or 3 seasons, but we definitely, before we start next season, we need a striker. Gabby's not a striker. Sergio's going to be in and out with his injuries if he stays for this last season. We're so desperate. I mean, whether Mr. Braff will do it, but is he an out-and-out striker or just a winger? I'm not 100%.
I don't think we can rely on Jayden Braff or Cole Palmer. Or
we need someone who. We need someone with that instinct. We need someone with. We need a Haaland, don't we? Let's be honest about it. We need that sort of player to come in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's another thing hopefully we'll touch on as the season progresses about who we can get in and where we should fit them in. But you know, let's get some of the negatives out of the way first. We're still prone to donkey defending, and it's not just you can't. It's one thing if you're pointing the finger at one player, and yes, Mendy. You know, I saw someone on Twitter today saying Mendy had a good game up, and somebody on another social media platform said, I will forgive him an early mistake because it's early in the game. Well, if you score a goal in the first minute or the 90th minute, it's still worth 1 goal. If you make in the first minute or the 90th minute and the score, it doesn't matter. You've got to be ready from the word go. And the worry for me about Mendy, it feels like, I mean, maybe we only remember the negative. It feels like he's making a glaring cock-up in every game. There was a cock-up in this game where I think, was it when after Salah hit the post and Mendy basically, there's one where I think he passed, it felt like he passed it to them and he cocked up. And in the Chelsea game, he made the mistake. You can't go around making this level of mistake in this level of game, because if Liverpool had scored early on, this game, I think, would have been it could have had a vastly different outcome. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it all turned on that early, you said that early 15, 17, 18 minutes thing before we got the penalty, because Liverpool had got that goal where obviously, I think, Mane was atrocious, I thought, last night. I thought he was awful. I thought he missed. It was he was just totally out. For whether he's been like that for a while, I'm not too sure, but it was rubbish last night. He'd been on the beer probably, like all the guys.
I don't think he's allowed to go on the beer. I thought religion-wise he's allowed.
You know, but the thing is, with you saying about Mendy though, because obviously when I go to the Etihad, I don't make notes and stuff. But obviously when I watch it on telly, I tend to make notes for my little thing and your thing and everything like that.
Yeah.
And every single player in that team made errors what's it? You know, they weren't under pressure. I mean, Laporte made an error. Garcia made an error. Gundogan made errors. Walker made errors. They all, where they passed to Liverpool, basically, they just didn't get the passes right. And every single player, not just Mendy, every single player at least once last night made an error, and it wasn't under pressure from Liverpool. It was just a simple pass out that they just absolutely messed up. And you're bound to get that. But the trouble is, we're passing out from our own 18-yard box. It's all right on the halfway line, but obviously a lot of this is happening on our 18-yard box in our third of the pitch, and that's where the problems start, where we have to be a bit more sensible sometimes, and not, this passing game works wonderfully, but sometimes not particularly between Edison and his defenders, but trying to hit that midfield, it does go wrong, and we have to be a little bit more concentrated, a bit more tuned into what's going on, because our experienced players are just as bad as our younger players are doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's like that pass, I think, was it against Chelsea as well, I think, where he just passed it to a Chelsea player in midfield. And, once you do that, it bypasses the player you were actually passing to, because they're like, what's going on? And someone else has legged it off with the ball. I'll give Liverpool credit, because, some of the mistakes where we will think, oh, yeah, there was no pressure there. There is. Liverpool put you under a tremendous amount of pressure. We saw last night.
They work hard,
We made mistakes that you wouldn't expect us to make, because Liverpool, they were pressing us with 3 players against 4 defenders. And then if we brought a midfielder in, they might squeeze a 4th player. So, I'd say, yes, we've got Edison and 5 players, but they've got 4 attackers trying to press, and they close down continuously. They don't stop. It's constant pressure from them. And you can see how other teams who aren't as good at passing around the back as City, when they try it against Liverpool, you can see how they're made to pay. So you've got to give them credit. They had a load of chances, so did we. But let's look at some positives. Positives number 1. Let's start with KDB. I think most neutrals will say KDB's been the player of the season, regardless of what other players the professional footballers, they might turn around and give it to Henderson, but I think KDB's been miles better than everybody else, and it looks like we found a penalty taker.
Absolutely. Can you still hear me? Hear me, Ray?
Yeah.
Oh, it's all right. My picture's froze. That's all. As long as you can you still see me? Okay.
Yeah. No problems.
Yeah. As I said to you last week, didn't I? I might have saved that one against Newcastle, but that was a superbly struck one last night, right in the corner. He had no chance. Alisson had no chance to get into that, and that's it. So if you're looking at your first goal scorer now, KDB's getting into the rating every week.
Yeah. Well, the good thing for me was, not only did he send him the wrong way with the eyes and the body and everything else, he slammed it right into the corner. And even if he'd gone the right way, he's not saving that. And that, for me, you just can't get a better penalty than that. So KDB, once again, imperious. Another goal scorer. 3 goals in games for him. He didn't do bad last night. Gomez was all over him. He had his hands on his crown jewels at one point. You want to be touch tight, but that's a little bit too personal. But look, he did well for the penalty. He scored his goal, so he played as well as anybody last night.
Yeah, Sterling sort of, that was let's face it, he's absolutely abysmal, isn't he, against Liverpool normally? Certainly Anfield, he's not that much better at the Etihad. So yeah, I think he scored highly last night, and I was quite chuffed with Sterling, because I think he had one in the second half where he could have done a bit better. But we can't have everything, can we? He took his goal well. He hit the target. All right, went through Gomez's legs, but at the end of the day, just hit the target. That's all we ask. And that second goal, obviously, it wasn't hitting the target, was it? Until the defender slid in and put it in for him. So make sure you hit the target, right, and just practice hitting the target.
Yeah, that's it. Hitting that target a little bit more often, sometimes being less greedy. But we at that point, we were at least 3-0 up when he started being a bit greedy, and you can understand that. You want to score against Liverpool. It's fair dues. And the last man I'm gonna pick out for praise. I think you know who it's going to be. It's not the youngest player on the pitch, the second youngest player on the pitch. Phil Foden is not the youngest player on the pitch these days at 20 years old. I think Garcia is 19. And Phil Foden, another fantastic display from him. Assured touch, guile, effort, pace, tenacity. All the good things you can say about a player. He did it, and he scored a wonderful goal as well.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, he gives us something a little bit different, doesn't he? He gives the opponents something to worry about. I mean, let's face it, over the last 2 or 3 years, our opponents have come used to what we've got, but Fielding gives us that little bit something different, and I think this is what we've been crying out for. And thankfully now he's here to stay, and hopefully Southgate will get off his bum and give him a call up for England, because if he doesn't, he wants shooting. To be honest with you.
I mean, no, I mean Foden. I mean, I said it 2 years ago. I would have taken Foden to Russia because we need creativity playmakers. And you can argue he's too young and he's inexperienced, but we knew. I mean, we've always known his potential is incredible, and his desire and professionalism is second to none. And he's, fingers crossed he stays fit and he makes it all the way, because not only will it be great for him, it's great for Man City, it's great for the fans to have a local lad come good. And I just noticed today, I think if I'm right, that the player of the month for June, have you seen that? 6 people named as for player of the month. St. Maximin with 1 goal, I think he's on the list. Fernandez on the list, and young Phil Foden, who scored, I do believe he scored 3 goals in June, is not on the list, and he did it in 104 minutes. And did he get 2 assists as well? And did he get that pre-assist, that no-look pre-assist against Burnley, when he passed to Bernardo, who crossed it in for David? Foden's been the man, and how can he be overlooked for Player of the Month?
Yeah, I mean, people say we're paranoid, don't they? But I mean, I'm sorry, we're not paranoid. It just happens time and time again, and I mean, it's there for all to see, and we're so used to it now, and we can perhaps try to ignore it, but I don't think we should ignore it. I think we should bring these points up and let people know, and make people realise that no, we're not paranoid. We're getting this time and time again, and at some stage it's got to stop. But when, I have no idea.
Well, we saw a video from Bernardo Silva earlier in the season where he said, 2 seasons ago we were Centurions. KDB had a magnificent season. He did. I think KDB scored 8 goals and had 16 assists in about 30-odd games, 37 games. David Silva, in only 29 games, whilst his son was seriously in hospital, in 29 games, he got, I think, something like 9 goals, 11 assists. Raheem Sterling, I mean, this is a team that won the Premier League with 100 points, smashed a load of records, and got the Carabao Cup as well. Raheem scored something like, I think it was 18 goals and got 11 assists. Okay, so this is your runaway champions, okay? And Salah. Now, Mo Salah's got a lot of, and credit to him. And if you're looking at just player of the season, then I can understand that. Fair dues. This season, KDB's been incredible again. I mean, we could look at last season, and Virgil van Dijk got it after Sterling did another amazing season. City, domestic treble winners, domestic quad winners, call it what you will. And Virgil van Dijk, yes, he played well, but we're looking at home. We're looking at a team that won the Champions League against a team that won everything at home. And this season, just simply because Liverpool are way clear, they've won it. That's all they've won. They've flopped out of the Carabao Cup, limped out of the FA Cup, and got embarrassed out of the Champions League. So they've done fantastically well to win this season. And they're talking about Henderson above KDB. I just don't get it. And so Bernardo Silva, it's right to point this out, because people can say whatever they like, that we're bitter and we're whining and all that, but we're just showing you sometimes the hypocrisy, the stupidity, the unfairness of these individual awards. It does annoy me just a little bit.
Well, I mean, it's not just that as well. It's a principle, isn't it? This affects what other people see us from outside the UK. I mean, our whole thing now is to be a big club, be a massive club, whatever you want to call it. But obviously, this harms us, does it? This continually harms us. So this is why it's important we keep raising these things, because obviously, our standing abroad obviously is being put down all the time by various things from the media, or even within the football organisation itself, and it has to be pointed out. And sometime or other, City are gonna have to be a bit harder on it as well, and make more of a stand on things, and not just take things willy nilly. And hopefully we'll see what happens with this cast thing. That'll be the start of obviously what will happen with that, and what will City do after that. I mean, it's just all negativity, and we've got to show this up for what it is, because it does affect our standing in world football as a big club, and that's the simple thing from it.
I mean, whichever way the cast goes, I mean, if we get exonerated, get no ban, I hope the club come out fighting and start slapping people down. And if we lose, I hope the club come out fighting and start slapping people down and take it further, because I mean, we as a fan base. And on one hand, you can say, let's not worry about what other fans say and this and that. But you do get, I mean, I think Raheem Sterling was on Twitter last night and said the amount of abuse being thrown around is ridiculous. And it is, and football fans can be really naughty people. And some of the vile stuff, and yes, if we don't want to come across as whinging, but we want, because we're City fans, we want our team's players to be fully appreciated and get the recognition and the rewards they deserve in the individual awards. And I can't see any City player getting a Ballon d'Or in anytime soon. I mean, we're going to have to win the. Let's be honest. If we win the Champions League this season, I'll ask you this question: if City win the Champions League this season, KDB scores a hat-trick in the final. We win the FA Cup. KDB scores a hat-trick in the final. And, we finished second in the league. We've already got the Carabao Cup. Do you think KDB will win the Ballon d'Or?
You just can't see it, can you? It's absolutely ridiculous. But you just can't see it happening. I mean, it's absolutely. You'd have to find a cure for the COVID virus as well, I think, and he probably still wouldn't get it then, even if he found that. I mean, it's just. I don't know. I don't know what the answer to it is. I really don't. It's just ridiculous. But KDB should be up there anyway at the moment. And obviously, say a good showing in the Champions League, it should almost guarantee him that award. But as you say, it's probably not even in the top 10.
No, I'd be shocked if he's not in the top 10. But but the thing is, the sad thing is, in other leagues, they do want to disregard what goes on in the Premier League. They really do want to do that. I mean, if you wanted an outside shot for Ballon d'Or last season, which people say, well, how can you do? Bernardo Silva was an outstanding shot, incredible for City, and people looked at Sterling and said, people from outside said Sterling was player of the season. Most City fans I spoke to said Bernardo Silva, for what he did, and then obviously he wins all the trophies at home. He's got a sack full of trophies. He goes off to the Nations League. And Portugal won the Nations League, and he's a player of the tournament. And how can he not be in the?
Yeah. Well, he got his own bat. He got his own bat last night anyway, didn't he? Yeah, he got his own bat last night anyway, didn't he?
That was the best. Yeah. Well, I don't know what he was drinking, but he's having a drink whilst everybody's clapping, and he just walks off like this is he's not got any interest in it, and fair dues to him. And you got Liverpool fans today whining. I mean, it's really daft. They're complaining that City didn't give them enough due respect with their, guard of honour. Well, what do you want is, we've got social distancing and all that. No, I think actually having that guard of honour from miles away was pretty good. Because it didn't feel like a massive guard of honour, and it was great that Liverpool. Oh no, I've got to big up Liverpool here. It was very magnanimous of them to give us a guard of honour during the game and let us have that procession to score all those goals. So thank you very much, Mr. Klopp and your Liverpool side. And finally, Bernard, can we catch Liverpool next season? Honestly?
With this team now, probably not. I mean, we can raise our games for the big games like that, but I say we did have, even though it's a wonderful result last night, it could have gone either way, that game last night. I know it sounds stupid. It could have been, it should have been 5-0 apparently this morning, because apparently Dermot Gallagher said the rule's all wrong on the handball rule, because Foden was fouled for a start. He only handballed it because he was pushed over. So I mean, I mean, what chance have we got when things like that go against? But yeah, I mean, I know it sounds daft, but even though we won 4-0, that could have easily been a defeat last night. I know it sounds really silly, but it certainly could. And based on the squad we've got at the moment, based on the fact we don't have we don't have a backup striker to Sergio Aguero at this point in time, unless we improve that and make 2 or 3 quality signings at least, perhaps 3 or 4. And obviously that will all depend on the casting, etc., etc. I can't see, based on what I saw from Liverpool last night, they're going to be very, very hard to pull back. Yeah. Certainly that 20 points. We might get closer with our current squad, but unless we vastly improve it, I don't think we'll overtake Liverpool next season.
I think we've lost 8 games this season, and that kind of sums it up. United have lost 8 games this season, so it kind of sums up where we are. We are basically, we win or we lose. And there's not been, I guess, too many draws in there. But yeah, I'd like to think, as I said before, the only way we'll catch Liverpool, and it's trying to be realistic, is they're going to have to drop off the pace. If they're going to throw in another 100-point season next season, it's going to be very hard to compete and to raise our game, like you say. And let's be honest, I think the most we can get this season is 84 points. So it's a huge drop off from us. And I think Liverpool are going to have to drop off about 10 points, and we're going to have to make about 10 points, and that makes up that 20-point gap. They need pressure. You need pressure on them. Every time they've had proper pressure in the past, when they've had a chance to win the league, they've capitulated. They've found a way to lose it. And this season could have been the same, because the jitters will start to affect them, because if we were 4 or 5 points away, they'd be worried. The pressure would have been on them to deliver. And I think in some games, they might have ended up drawing instead of winning. So it's just one of those things. I think we will get closer. And as you quite rightly say, unless we make some quality signings and players who will make the first team, not the first team squad, first team immediately.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about Jack Grealish and stuff like that. He's just not up for it. He's not good enough, in my opinion. He'd just be a squad player. We want someone a little bit better than Jack Grealish, I'm afraid.
Guys, I will tap into Bernard's grey matter soon. We'll chat about players, which players. We'll look at different players and positions. I don't know how much Bernard studies players, but it'd be interesting to get his thoughts on the positions, and we'll have a discussion, I hope, about which players need to go, might go, and which positions we need to fill, and which players might fill those positions to help us get back to winning ways and challenge a lot more effectively to win back. Can we call it our title? Come on, we had it for 2 seasons. It's ours. You got to be careful of these scallies. When you loan them something, sometimes they don't give it you back. So, I tell you what, if we win the league next season, if we win the league next season, we'll get the cup. When we get the league trophy back, it'll be on 4 bricks. You might. Bernard, it's a pleasure to you. Always is a pleasure talking to you. And I hope we can meet up again.
Thanks, thanks very much, Rain. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Bernard.